the World Baseball Classic. You play for your country. From Mission Beach south, through the marinas, through the sun and splendor of America's finest city, Puerto Rico fans have traveled far and wide to be here to watch an undefeated team take on the stars of the U.S. California natives meeting the best of Puerto Rico. Welcome to this World Baseball Classic telecast on MLB Network tonight. Two undefeated teams in the San Diego bracket square off with a lot on the line. It's Team USA and Team Puerto Rico. The standings through 3 days of play in the World Baseball Classic San Diego bracket. Puerto Rico and the U.S. undefeated. They meet tonight. The Dominican Republic got on the board with a win yesterday. Venezuela bringing up the rear, yet still alive to move on to Los Angeles. The top two teams advance to the semifinals on Monday. And welcome inside the broadcast booth with John Smoltz, Matt Vasgersian. As a guy that plied his craft in a Hall of Fame career on the mound, you have to be pleased with what you've seen so far. A lot of great pitching here in San Diego.
Yeah, that's been the theme. I mean, these offense, when you see them on paper, you go, wow, how are you going to navigate through that? Well, the starting pitchers for the U.S. team especially, and Puerto Rico's done that. That's why these teams are in the position they are. Puerto Rico kind of surprising, I think, everybody. They knew their lineup was electric with young talent, but they've been pitching outstanding, and it has been the theme of this World Baseball Classic.
Yeah,
so far.
Real challenge for the guys in the lineups tonight because both pitchers have had great outings so far in this event. Seth Lugo went farther in his first outing than any Puerto Rican pitcher's ever gone in World Baseball Classic history. Marcus Stroman was great the very next day against the Dominican.
Yeah, and I think for Seth Lugo, look, I mean, he's still competing for a possible rotation spot with the Mets. It's another good audition for him against a great U.S. lineup, and Marcus Stroman loves the moment, matches the energy, and he's just trying to continue that streak for the U.S. team that has yet to give up an earned run out of the starting rotation.
You know, maybe of more concern to Team USA than the starting pitcher they're facing is the starting catcher that's out there today for Edwin Rodriguez. Yadi Molina on Tuesday had about as good a day in a baseball game as one could ever have.
Yeah, on a baseball team, it's rare that one guy can wreak so much havoc, and he definitely does that behind the plate. He did it with the bat, but he shuts down the running game. He gets his pitcher through the game with his knowledge and preparation. Yadier Molina is everything to Puerto Rico, but he's everything to any team he plays for the pitcher on the mound. And look for him to do the same thing. For Seth Lugo, just sit there on the mound and trust your catcher. The numbers speak for itself. This guy has become not only the MVP of the St. Louis Cardinals, but you could say for Team Puerto Rico.
The 8 Gold Gloves for Yadi Molina came in consecutive fashion, and he's off to a great start in the World Baseball Classic, hoping to take his team to Los Angeles on Monday. Team USA powered by so many young stars, and in fact so many young California-based stars. A couple of 25-year-olds contributing. Nolan Arenado hit a big 3-run home run in Miami, though he's looking for his first hit in the San Diego bracket. And the left-handed bat, Christian Yelich of the Miami Marlins, has been great, 6 for 14 so far in the tournament.
Yeah, they have, and I'm sure they're having a lot of fun getting back home. Nolan's got time to heat up and contribute in a big way if they're going to get to L.A.
And they're standing by with our JP Morosi.
Thanks, Matt. Here with Christian Yelich, Nolan Arenado, two SoCal natives. And Christian, I'll start with you. This guy was your teammate 10 years ago, the ABD Bulldogs. Did you ever imagine back then you'd be playing together now on Team USA?
No, and it doesn't feel like it was 10 years ago. That went by fast, but it's good to play together again. Kind of relive the glory days a little bit from high school and the travel ball circuit, and we've been having a lot of fun.
Nolan, now for you, Puerto Rico recruited you to play in this tournament. What are your emotions now here tonight?
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's a little weird. I think it's probably a little more weird for my family than it is for me. I'm, like I said, it felt right. I was born here. I just felt right representing the USA, and I'm excited. Once the game starts, it's going to go out the window. They're going to be my opponent, and I'm going to do my best to, have a good day and help the team win.
Question for both of you now. You're back home in SoCal. What does it mean to you to be here in front of friends and family playing now in the WBC?
Yeah, it's been a great time. Miami was awesome, and then just coming out here to San Diego, enjoying the beautiful ballpark, taking in the WBC. It's been unbelievable, and it's good to be back home.
Yeah, I mean, it always feels good. It feels great to see your family out here supporting. I mean, they were in Miami also, so I mean, no matter what, we could have been anywhere, Tokyo, they would have come out there also. So, I mean, we have a great support, but it is nice to be back home in California. it's a little bit different when we, you know, breathe in the air. We know we're home in California, so it's nice.
2 of 5 SoCal natives, Matty, on this team. Back to you.
Thanks, JP. Both Nolan Arenado and Christian Yelich in the lineup tonight. So San Diego native Adam Jones, and on the other side, Indian superstar Francisco Lindor leads the way. Daniel Murphy back in the lineup tonight. We're set. All the stars are in place. A big one tonight in front of the biggest crowd thus far in San Diego. The U.S. and Puerto Rico are coming up next. Well, the U.S. and Puerto Rico have, of course, matched up in WBC play in the past, and it's been very even, a 2-2 record for each head-to-head. Let's take a look at Jim Leyland's United States stars lining up against Seth Lugo tonight. Andrew McCutchen, Adam Jones, and Christian Yelich off the top. McCutchen leading off tonight. Arenado, Hosmer, and Posey in the middle of the lineup card. Daniel Murphy's back out there after playing only the first 2 games in Miami. Brandon Crawford playing as well after a night off 2 days ago. And Josh Harrison makes his first start of the World Baseball Classic. On the mound for Puerto Rico, 27-year-old Mets property, Seth Lugo, whose first pitch to Andrew McCutchen is grounded to the overloaded left side of the infield. And there's one guy to start the night tonight.
Well, Seth Lugo had a great year last year, and look what he's doing in the World Baseball Classic already. Very smooth delivery. You saw a fastball with sink. He's got a fantastic curveball and a slider and a change. And like I said, still trying to maybe get a spot in the New York Mets rotation.
1 pitch and 1 out for him as Adam Jones digs in for Team USA. Adams had a great tournament, 5 for 18. He has started all 5 games for the Americans in center field and takes strike 1. 59 degrees at game time this evening with the marine layer heavy, and it promises to get a bit chillier. We do know this, as we talked about when we went on the air, the biggest crowd so far in San Diego expected tonight, in advance of what will be a near sellout crowd tomorrow for the U.S. and the Dominican Republic. Line to shortstop, and Lindor's got that one for route number 2.
Well, for Seth Lugo, here are the points I think help Yachty out. And what I mean by that is, if runners get on, just do the little things, because he'll eliminate the runners. Curveball is a great pitch for him. He's got one of the best spin rates in all of baseball. That pitch has late break, and then just don't shake. Meaning, don't shake your head. Whatever Yachty puts down, throw it, because he's been successful so far for Team Puerto Rico.
2 quick outs down for Christian Yelich. He takes a strike. Yelich off to a great start in the tournament, 6 for 14. We weren't quite sure how Jim Leyland was going to rotate his outfield with all the stars on this team. Well, Yelich has hit his way into the starting lineup every night after sitting for the opener.
Yachty makes it so tough on umpires. Watch how he sits and invites the ball to make it seem like it's on the corner. But he does sit off the plate. So if the pitcher hits his spot with him off the plate, unless he can entice the umpire to give him that pitch, it's going to be a ball.
Two balls and a strike to count to Christian Yelich. Lugo's a quick worker. Saw his numbers from last year, and John mentioned the good season he had. His first start in WBC play Friday against Venezuela, he retired the first 11 that he faced in order and ended up with 5 1/3 that night. It was the longest start ever made by a Puerto Rican starter in World Baseball Classic history. Pretty good for a guy whose first visit to Puerto Rico came earlier this year. Shot for back to him, and as was the case Friday, Lugo is all business to start the night in San Diego. Time to check the lineup for Puerto Rico. Angel Pagan, Francisco Lindor, and Carlos Correa lead it off. The veteran DH Carlos Beltran, the 9-time All-Star, batting cleanup. Yadi Molina had a huge day on Tuesday. He catches and hits number 5. Baez, Rosario, Rivera, and Fuentes round things out for Puerto Rico. A lot of balance in this Puerto Rico lineup, but they're going to have their hands full with the 25-year-old former first-rounder out of Duke, Toronto Blue Jay ace Marcus Stroman.
Marcus Stroman certainly loves this moment. You can tell by whether it's a playoff game or a World Baseball Classic game, he has the pride and the energy. And he really believes he's the best player on the field, which is what you have to have when you're a pitcher. You have to believe you are better than anybody that stands in that box. And you're going to get him out. You see the numbers last year. 204 innings.
Two balls and a strike to Angel Pagan, who's 3 for 16 so far in the tournament. He has led off and played left field the whole run for Puerto Rico so far. Pagan, Lindor, and Correa last of the first. Stroman completely neutralized the heavy-hitting Dominican Republic team in Miami on Saturday. 4 2/3, did not allow a run, scattered 3 hits, didn't walk anybody, and struck out 4. And before Danny Duffy's outing here a couple days ago, it was the best single pitching performance by Team USA.
Yes, it was. And he was on his game, as you mentioned, that lineup. This two-seamer, he has such movement to it. He throws a 4-seamer and a 2-seamer. Slider, such a deadly pitch for him. Hitters last year hit under 200 off his slider.
Here's his full count pitch to Pagan. Grounded past Hosmer into right field. And Puerto Rico's leadoff hitter is aboard.
Well, for Stroman, things I think will be important tonight is establish the heater. He's got to be able to pound it for strikes. He establishes the heater. Every breaking pitch he uses, which is point number 2, will be that much better. He's got a variety of breaks to him. And then basically extend the streak if you can. No earned runs for the starters of the U.S. in this WBC. That is as impressive of a stat as you're going to get against the lineups they face.
There's the outstanding all-star shortstop, the switch hitter Francisco Lindor. 6 for 14 so far in the tournament with a couple of home runs and 4 driven in. Lindor's bunting foul.
Trying to drag it with him. Bunting for a base hit. Lindor is such a great player. Of course, the Cleveland Indians are going to ride the talent of their infield. Hopefully back to another World Series appearance.
Francisco Lindor is such a complete offensive player and willing to give himself up. He led the American League in sacked bunts as a rookie, and then last year led the American League in sacked flies.
And unlike most other young players with 2 strikes, well, benefit of a strike call there, he finds ways more than not to put the ball in play. He's not a free swinger. He's more of an average guy at the plate.
2 balls and 2 strikes. Check to count 1-2, 1-2 on Francisco Lindor. 2 for 9 in his career against Marcus Stroman, including a postseason matchup. You should take a look at the crew for this one. 2 international umpires and Will Little back behind home plate. He had the plate when Tony Pena was ejected after kind of a rough night back there to open the bracket. Back up the middle, back-to-back singles, start the last of the first.
See, that's what I'm talking about. You go right up the middle, short, compact stroke. Not trying to do too much, and certainly doesn't swing and miss a lot with 2 strikes, but that's what you got to do against a pitcher who has a variety of breaks to his pitches, and this Lindor classic. Mentioned it in the beginning. Puerto Rico knows their fate if they win. They are in. That's the only thing that is a known for tonight's game based on the outcome.
Here's Carlos Correa now, 3 for 11 with 2 home runs so far in the tournament. And Stroman takes it for strike 1. Puerto Rico has scored first in 3 of their 4 games in this tournament. It's been a big start to their 4-0 record. Stroman working out of the stretch, runners at first and second, looking for his first out, and it's 1-1 to Carlos Correa. Carlos Correa starting at third base throughout the tournament, a move he volunteered to make. It's the subject of much speculation before the World Baseball Classic, with so many great middle infielders. Who was going to move? Correa, the player that volunteered. He's been good at third base. Inside out swing and a third straight single. They're going to wave Pagan around. No throw from McCutchen, and Puerto Rico is on the board early tonight.
Taking advantage of playing a little more up the middle, playing him to pull, inside out swing, see where Harrison's playing. No chance he gets there, and a great read by Lindor, easily going to third. Pagan scoring easily from second base.
Jeff Jones with a very early visit. First earned run allowed by a U.S. starter in the tournament. 3 straight singles. And now Carlos Beltran. Beltran had a great run through Mexico. 6 for 13 in the tournament. Make it 4 straight knocks. Boy, the approach has been the same for all of them, John. You were on it, back up the middle, and Puerto Rico having some real early success tonight.
Breaking ball's not quite as sharp early on. It's kind of rolling, and if you roll a breaking ball to some of these hitters and they have the right approach, it's an easier approach to go up the middle. He stays back, doesn't try to pull. If he tries to pull that ball, maybe it's a ground ball that could turn 2.
Still in search of his first out. Stroman goes to work on Yadi Molina. Doesn't get any easier here. The home run 2 nights ago. Yadi's second of the tournament. 5 for 13 is how he started at the plate. Singles by Pagan, Lindor, Correa, and Beltran. But this could really upset the apple cart here if the U.S. somehow does not get anything close to the 80 pitches that Stroman is allowed to make. Jim Leyland has contingency plans for everything, but among the things he was not counting on was a short one from Stroman tonight. He's already given up more hits tonight in 4 at-bats than he did in almost 5 innings against the Dominican Republic on Saturday.
Yeah, the one thing you don't want to see if you're Jim Leyland and Jeff Jones, you don't want to see a 30-plus pitch inning, right? That's where you start getting a little nervous early in spring. That's why Jake McGee might be up in the pen trying to get loose.
balls and 2 strikes on Molina. Javier Baez waiting on deck from Puerto Rico. Beltran and Correa aboard with 2 runs in and nobody out. Molina is on everything. Still 2-2.
Puerto Rico, I mean, we talk about the Dominican lineup, but this is the lineup that's actually producing like the best lineup.
The next 2-2 home. Molina lines it to right. Another base hit. Correa scores. 3-0 Puerto Rico. And with that, the U.S. bullpen is busy. If that doesn't push the panic button early, 5 straight knocks start the ball game, and before Jim Leyland can get an out, he's trailing 3-0.
Another breaking ball. Watch this thing hang. It just doesn't have the late sharpness. Molina does a nice job of going the other way. It's just the crispness of those breaking balls that we talked about from Stroman makes him electric and sharp, and they're just a little bit a tick off.
So now Javi Baez takes strike 1. Baez off to a 5 for 17 start in the tournament. He's driven in 5 runs. You make a good point about the DR lineup getting all the hype, and for good reason. It's a star-studded lineup, but Puerto Rico feels like they can match the Dominicans in terms of star power and, more importantly, in terms of productivity. 0-2 to Baez. You probably already observed the theme among the Team Puerto Rico players. Shattered bat and a 6th consecutive hit. Even the Puerto Rico bullpen is going crazy. Jake McGee is up in the U.S. bullpen. He's getting closer to being hot, and I just can't imagine if it's going to be one of those nights for Marcus Stroman. At some point, you got to save him from himself. He has not been able to record an out yet. McGee, by the way, has never appeared in a big league game this early. And if Marcus Stroman can't finish the first, I mean, you're talking about the very definition of a Johnny Holstaff night and a nightmare for Jim Leyland.
They're hitting them where they ain't, as they say.
4 of the 6 hits have come on 2 strike counts. And here's Eddie Rosario now. Rosario off to a great start in the tournament as well. 6 for 11 with 3 runs driven in. Into left for a long-awaited first out of the inning. Beltran's going to tag up. Throw comes into third. Molina came off the bag, and the U.S. is able to get 2 outs on the play. Boy, did the Americans catch a break there. The 4th run does score, but there are 2 gone in the inning.
They've been aggressive running on the outfielders, running on McCutchen. I didn't think Molina and maybe even Yelich thought that this would go to third base. Molina, and the transfer right there just looked like his spike slipped off the bag as he slid in safe. Pops up. Right there, he comes off.
Here's T.J. Rivera now. Baez runs, throw down to third on him is not in time.
That's certainly not a big deal with 2 outs. Unless you bounce one.
Judging by how good Marcus Stroman was in his first start, and judging by the fact that runs have been at a premium since the tournament came to San Diego, a 4-run first inning by either side was the last thing we expected to see tonight. One to Rivera. A shot out to right field. The ball well hit that'll dive for McCutchen, putting a merciful end to a big-time start to the night for Team Puerto Rico. 6 straight singles. They get on the board for 4 big runs, and after just an inning, 4-0 Puerto Rico. Baseball Classic telecast on MLB Network is presented by Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. And sponsored in part by the U.S. Army. Find out more at GoArmy.com. And by the all-new Alfa Romeo Giulia. Nolan Arenado leads things off for the U.S. as they have put themselves in an early 4-0 hole tonight. Arenado, Hosmer, and Posey against Seth Lugo, who worked quickly and efficiently in a 9-pitch 1-2-3 first.
Well, he's sneaky with all of his stuff. He's just a very relaxed pitcher. At least it seems that way, looking at the external and how he deals with the hitters. Easy motion, ball stays down, gets on the hitter because they have to respect his other pitches as well. Curveball, slider, changeup. And there's what he's going to do when you break it down on average. 4-seamer and your sinker are going to get the majority, as you would imagine, fastball.
Ball and 2 strikes to count to Arenado, who's 1 for 15 so far in World Baseball Classic play. Hey, happy St. Patrick's Day, by the way.
Yeah, right back at you. You know how you feel about it.
Neither one of us weren't green.
We couldn't really. No.
Yeah, there we go. And in the spirit of the thing. Yeah, even with the green, that kid's cute enough to pinch. The 2-2 to Arenado. There's a drive into the corner. Nolan Arenado around first on his way into second.
Well, maybe we got it opposite. Yesterday we thought we'd see some runs and it was 3-0. Tonight everything smelled like a 1-0, 2-1, 3-2 game. The guys may have their hitting shoes on. That wasn't an easy trip for Aaron Nolan going down the.
Arenado in scoring position now for Eric Hosmer. And there's a base hit back up the middle, and one of those runs is going to come back immediately. Exactly how we saw this one going, right?
Yep.
4-1 already, as folks are still trickling in from the park and the international fair that was taking on out there before the game started.
Is that what was going on? International fair?
International fair. A lot of food and beverage being served in various countries. There's Buster Posey now. To quote the great character of Larry Kroger from Animal House, got a lot of catching up to do. Put yourself in a 4-0 hole, but it's a great start when one of those comes off the board as soon as you start the next half inning. A 4-1 ball game as Posey takes a strike. Buster 2 for 8, having started 2 games in the World Baseball Classic prior to tonight. Sharing the catching duties with Ranger backstop Jonathan Lucroy. Buster's in front now, 2-1.
That's been probably the easiest choice. Just go every other game for Jim Leyland with the catcher spot. Most catchers in spring training are not going to catch all 9 innings, so these guys are sharing the responsibility.
Posey's been here plenty his whole career in the NL West, as you see Jonathan Lucroy, and Buster's had some success in this ballpark. A .299 career hitter here with 8 home runs over 50 games. And now Molina's going to visit with Lugo.
Defensively, for the Puerto Rican team, the infield speaks for itself. For the outfield, you got Pagan, Fuentes, and Rosario. But man, oh man, the infield right there, those 3 guys, Correa, Lindor, and Baez, pretty special. And we've talked all about Molina. Just doesn't get any better. Rivera at first.
Three balls and a strike to count to Buster Posey. Hosmer at first with nobody out. A run in immediately here in the second. And there's ball 4. I mean, you couldn't ask for a better opportunity here to bring the tying run to the plate early after you give up a 4 spot to start the night.
Well, they're close. It's late movement, but outside, right? And that's partly due because Molina's setting up off of the plate. He's trying to steal strikes. He's trying to get his pitcher through the game, and that's what he was able to do previously. Tonight, Lugo just a fraction off the plate on some of these pitches.
Daniel Murphy DHing tonight and making his first appearance in the World Baseball Classic here in San Diego. Murph played each of the first 2 games. A 1-for-6 start to the tournament. The runner-up to the 2016 National League batting champ. It was an injury-filled September that cost Daniel a chance at that. A ball and a strike.
Well, last year speaks for itself. My gosh, he carried the Nationals. Harper just a little bit down here, maybe dealing with some injuries, but this guy had an MVP type season.
Takes a strike to fall behind. He did some amazing things against the old employer too, didn't he?
Oh,
I mean, just single-handedly wrecked the Mets last year. 19 games against the Mets. He was 31 for 75. That's a .413 batting average. Hit 7 home runs and drove in 21 in 19 games.
that is unbelievable to do it the very next year.
Yeah, it was a remember me debut season as a National. He's a pretty good diplomat as well.
Conversationalist.
Yeah. I'm quite sure that Daniel's one of those guys that knows all the umpires' first names before the game starts. Comebacker for Lugo. They get 1 and 2. What a great turn by Francisco Lindor.
Really surprised they were able to turn that, and I don't know what Jim Leland would be asking him. That's good arm strength right at the end. See, I thought when I saw the throw, and then maybe Jim was thinking he was safe, but when I saw the throw from Lugo, that's when I thought, okay, that ball did not hit Lindor in stride. Very close.
Oh boy. It's going to be up to Brandon Crawford now, and on the first pitch, a bouncer to second base, and the U.S. settles with just the 1 in their half of the second. We're already off and flying on the scoreboard through just an inning and a half. The U.S. trailing by 3. Geico. With John Smoltz and John Paul Morosi, Matt Vasgersian, already a lot of activity on the scoreboard. A 4-1 lead for Puerto Rico. Raymond Fuentes leads things off in their half of the second. Well, that's the Daniel Murphy play. And the Puerto Rican middle infield was credited with turning a double play, but as you can tell, we blew this up. Daniel was safe. So the U.S., after starting the inning with a double, a single, and a walk, settled with only 1 run, due in part to the call that did not go their way at the first base bag. And Fuentes takes a strike.
Well, that first inning, as bad as it started, couldn't have ended any better for the U.S. and Jim Leland, because they do need innings. They need innings badly out of Stroman, and now it looks like, you know, barring another inning like that, they'll get some innings and at least bridge the gap. You get worried that you get your pitcher as a swing and a miss there. You get worried you run your pitcher out there 30+ pitches, and you don't ever want to do that and then extend him closer to 80 pitches.
First strikeout of the ball game for Marcus Stroman. You know, it's important to bear in mind as you watch these games, folks, the standard replay rules in Major League Baseball do not apply until the tournament gets to the semifinals next week. So if you were wondering why Jim Leland didn't go out there and challenge that call at first, it's because he does not have that option. Top of the order, Angel Pagan now. He singled the start of the run of 6 straight base hits that led to 4 runs in the first. Angel just wrapping up his, that's what Jimmy saw, kind of around Josh Harrison. Talking about Pagan wrapping up his 4-year stay in San Francisco. He was such an important player for them in their World Series runs. And he's a free agent. We talked to his manager Edwin Rodriguez about him today and said, if you were the agent for Angel Pagan, and what would you be telling potential employers? And he said, I would tell you that you've got a guy that can lead off, play all 3 outfield spots, switch, hit, run a little bit, still hit for occasional power. He hit a career best 12 home runs last year, and do pretty much anything. It's amazing that he's unsigned.
It is, especially. It just seems like when he's in the lineup, the team wins. Now, most of that's been with San Francisco, and their success rate's unbelievable when he was in the lineup.
Two gone, bases empty for Francisco Lindor. Yeah, Angel Pagan is a complete player. A little time with the Cubs, a little time with the Mets, and a lot of time with the Giants. 5 seasons there in a 3-player trade. He came their way in 2011. Had a good stay with them. A .281 hitter as a Giant. Lindor on one big hop for Hosmer. And Stroman responds nicely after giving up the 4 in the first. When you think about great Puerto Rican-born players, the conversation starts with Roberto Alomar, 2011 Hall of Famer, 12 All-Star appearances, 10 Gold Gloves, a postseason hero, one of the best at his position regardless of country. Robbie Alomar has a new title, has a new role with Major League Baseball, and we are thrilled to have Roberto Alomar with us in the booth in San Diego. It's great to see you, Robbie.
Well, nice to see you guys.
Tell us about what you're doing at the commissioner's office. I know that Rob Manfred and his staff made a big announcement earlier today.
Well, what I wanted to do is just to create a program in Puerto Rico to help the youth to stay in the right path and hopefully fulfill their dreams the same way I did. So we just want to open more opportunities for the young guys and the young players in Puerto Rico.
I know that there are academies there throughout the island. I know that every major league team scouts and develops there, and right now we have this new amazing wave of Puerto Rican-born talent here representing the island in this tournament as Josh Harrison flies to center. But in visiting with a lot of guys on the team, Robbie, there was a time when the future for baseball in Puerto Rico wasn't quite as bright.
Yeah, I remember in 2011 when I was inducted into the Hall of Fame, baseball was going down in Puerto Rico. And when I was a young boy, baseball was great in Puerto Rico. It was #1 sport. So we want to create this different program for the kids. So hopefully we can bring baseball back up the way it is now. And seeing this young talent playing today, I think it's exciting for the country. It's exciting for the island, and hopefully the kids can see them and put their uniform on and start playing baseball again.
We also understand that not only is it big again and exciting, the whole place stops. And watching this event, they really care about their heroes.
Yes, I know in Puerto Rico everybody's watching. The island is real excited about this game, and you know, I think we're going through a tough time in the island, and I know that this is some great positive news for the island, and hopefully we can continue to do so.
Really talented team that Puerto Rico has put on the field for the World Baseball Classic this year. I mean, I know you've been watching, I know you've been paying attention, and your name comes up often, Robbie, in terms of the great middle infielders on this team.
It is unbelievable how much talent those young guys have. You know, Lindor, Baez, and Correa. It is unbelievable. I'm enjoying every moment of it, and you know, they have hopefully a long baseball career, and hopefully they can stay healthy and continue to play the game the right way.
We understand that there are some schools closed in Puerto Rico just to watch the World Baseball Classic. For fans in the U.S., describe what a big deal this is back home.
It is a big deal. A lot of people don't understand how big deal it is for the island, especially in this bad moment. But the island is watching. The island is it's a beautiful island, great people. So hopefully we can go all the way this year.
0-2 the count to Adam Jones.
Well, I gotta show you something real quick. This is a blast from the past, and I keep saying, you know, I think you're out. You'll have a chance to describe whether you think you were out.
Oh no!
And made the cover. I think
Slow motion.
I pushed your hand off the plate, right?
Look at that, slow motion, safe. Come on.
Unfortunately, I was really good at that play because I threw a lot of wild pitches.
Broken bat pop for Francisco Lindor. Roberto Alomar, great to have you on with us today. Congratulations on your new role in the commissioner's office, and we wish you a lot of success with that.
Thank you, guys. Thank you for inviting me.
Still a 4-1 lead for Puerto Rico. Still a lot to be determined here in San Diego before we get to the semifinals up at Dodger Stadium next week. And tomorrow, doubleheader action, Puerto Rico and Venezuela at 3:30 Eastern, 12:30 local time. And then the big one, the U.S. and Dominican Republic tomorrow. The last scheduled game in the bracket, 7 p.m. local, 10 in the East. Some terrific baseball doubleheader action tomorrow on MLB Network. Carlos Correa leads things off in the Puerto Rico half of the third. The scenarios for who advances are still a little bit convoluted. The team with the best road right now is Puerto Rico. If they win this when they're in, And there is no play-in game, by the way. So if Puerto Rico wins tonight, they're going to the semis. And then the winner of the DR-US game tomorrow night would join them. That's the most simple scenario of all the many that still are out there. Where it gets hairy, and here's the information. Puerto Rico's road is clear. For the U.S., they not only have to win tonight, but they win tomorrow, and they're in. If they lose tonight and win tomorrow, they're in. Here's the rub. If the U.S. wins tonight and loses tomorrow, and Puerto Rico wins tomorrow, then there'll be 3 teams tied at 2-1. And at that point, we'd have to go to the math, and based on the tiebreaker formula, pick the top 2 of those 3 teams to play a play-in game on Sunday. Puerto Rico's in good shape, and you might be asking yourself, watching at home, how do you, if 2 teams are 2-0, then how do you even figure this out? Or, at this point in the tournament, it's based on who you've beaten. And there's ball 4 to Correa. When each team plays only 3 games, the odds of some kind of a tie along the way, or some kind of a roadblock with a bunch of teams being 1-2 or 2-1, it's very possible. So there's a tiebreaker formula and then a play-in game that would be needed if things shake out that way. There's Carlos Beltran now with the leadoff hitter aboard. Marcus Stroman threw a lot of pitches and allowing the 4 runs on 6 hits in the first. Retired the side in order in the second, and then loses the leadoff hitter here in the third.
He got a little more finish on his pitches since that first inning. Everything was just a little bit flat, just a tick from being where he wanted to. He's made a nice adjustment, at least on his breaking ball. That's what, your goal is to work out all those kinks before the season starts, right? But that's not your goal tonight. Your goal tonight is to put your team in the best possible situation to win a game. So you're trying to grind as if it is a regular season playoff atmosphere, because that's what these guys talk about, how much these games are different.
Oh, and 2 the count to Carlos Beltran. The 9-time All-Star, 7 for 14 with 5 runs batted in this year. Returning back to Houston for 2016, site of some of his most memorable work, in particular the 2004 postseason. A ball and 2 strikes to Beltran. Some of Carlos's career accolades, and numbers like those will get him some consideration for Cooperstown 5 years after he finally decides to shut it down. Only 3 switch hitters have ever hit more home runs than Carlos Beltran, as you see Yadi Molina waiting on deck.
Chipper one of those.
Chipper's third.
Eddie Murray.
Eddie Murray's second.
Mickey Mantle.
Got it. I think Carlos Beltran knocked Chili Davis out of the top 4 or 5, if I'm not mistaken. Ooh, close at first base. Correa just back. He has a lot of advocates for Cooperstown consideration already, does Carlos Beltran. This will be his 20th year in Major League Baseball. 3,000 hits probably isn't going to happen. He's at 2,617 as he swings and misses.
Such a luxury to have a guy like this, though, and that's what Houston's going to be benefiting from. Even in the tail end of his career, so much wisdom to pass on, ability to switch hit, DH, play a little field, but more importantly, help the young players on that team that are so talented and looking for direction.
So now Yadi Molina with 1 out and 1 on. Well, Carlos Beltran's first year in the big leagues was back in 1998. 9 All-Star selections. He was the Rookie of the Year in '99, his first full season as a Kansas City Royal, and one of just 5 players all time with 400 or more home runs and 300 or more stolen bases. Correa runs. Posey's throw to second is not in time.
Got a good jump, high leg kick. Posey trying his best to get down there as quickly as he can. Molina swings to keep Posey back.
Puts another runner in scoring position. Puerto Rico's already 4 for 5 with runners in scoring position tonight. Different feeling plate appearance for Molina now. Posey wants it on the outside. Comebacker. Stroman knocks it down and everybody's safe. Throw back into third and they've got Correa in a rundown. Throw into second on Molina and Harrison can't make the pickup cleanly. Carlos Correa got just a little too wound up around the third base bag.
Yeah, uncharacteristic of Carlos Correa there. I think just excitement got the best of him because I don't know what he thought that Stroman was going to do is whip around and throw to first might be the only thing. This play by Stroman, Correa affected him, but he had the ability to turn around and recognize that he had round the bag. Almost a unique double play had Harris come up with that ball. Stroman took his eyes off the ball by seeing Correa run into third, which allowed him to bobble it.
Brandon Crawford rotated over nicely and really executed well there. And here's Javi Baez now with a runner at second and 2 gone.
Watch when this ball's hit between the pitcher's mound and third base and he takes his head to look. I don't know why he looked there because the play was at first the whole way. But nonetheless, the U.S. picked him up and Stroman's ability to stay alert.
The play scored as an error on Stroman, and he's going to have a chance here to neutralize all this. He's fallen behind Javi Baez, 2 balls and no strikes. Eddie Rosario, a left-handed batter, waiting next.
Believe it or not, he's made adjustments. I got to give him a lot of credit. Look, when he first broke into the league for the Cubs, there was no chance he was going to strike out 300 times at the rate he was going. But he's gotten the ability to just tone down the leg kick and the violent kind of hands that he had up top. They've done a really nice job, and he's made progressions every single year, as you can see by those numbers. That is an impressive young man taking the instructions and working on it.
Chopper to shortstop. Crawford's got it. And nothing doing in the third. Puerto Rico had an opportunity to add on with the leadoff walk and stolen base, but Stroman gets off the hook. Boy, 3 wild innings down here in San Diego. 4-1 Puerto Rico. Welcome back to this World Baseball Classic telecast on MLB Network, presented by Geico. Back with John Smoltz and John Paul Morosi, Matt Vasgersian. A 4-1 lead for Team Puerto Rico through the first three, and in front of a big crowd here tonight as well. Looking for a near sellout tomorrow night in the nightcap of the day-night doubleheader. Christian Yelich leads it off against Seth Lugo in the fourth. Yelich, Arenado, and Hosmer. Yelich sends a drive into the left field corner. Angel Pagan is back there for it. A lot of star power on the Puerto Rican coaching staff in the World Baseball Classic. The two-time All-Star Carlos Delgado on the staff with Edwin Rodriguez, and between innings, JP Morosi had a chance to catch up with him.
Carlos, 473 career home runs for you, but it was 6 singles in the first inning. What was your view of that rally?
I think we put together some good at-bats. We're facing a guy with a good sinker, good slider, so our plan is we wanted him to elevate the ball. We put together nice singles. You know, we take them all. You know, bloop and a blast, and but just get guys on.
Carlos, you played on the Puerto Rican Dream Team, 1995 with Robbie Alomar, so many stars. Is this team better?
This is a great team. I wouldn't say this is better just yet. I mean, we have a great group of guys that are coming into the game and developing into great superstars. That team was a little bit more mature, a little bit more experienced, but this is fun to watch.
Most important question, did you ever think you'd have a blonde goatee in your life?
You know what? Back in the day, 1997, I have blonde hair. We with the Blue Jays, Roger Clemens was there. He lost a bet. We made him lose a bet, so I have blonde hair. So, you know, when in Rome doing what the Romans do, this is something that brings us together, and the guys are having a great time.
Gracias, Carlos.
Gracias.
The guys are having a great time with the blonde hair. They're having a great time playing defense. How about the play that Carlos Correa just made at third base? How do you think Carlos Correa be able to handle third base? Here's your answer. Fine. Not a bad play for a kid who's played every professional inning of his career at shortstop.
Well, he's going to do the best he can no matter what, but I don't know he wants to do that great a job at third base and open that door for him. He wants to play short as long as he possibly can. That's an ambition of his. He's going to do whatever he can to play shortstop.
Eric Hosmer with a bouncer to second base, and Seth Lugo gets through the U.S. with 7 pitches in the fourth. Still a 4-1 lead for Team Puerto Rico. We head to the bottom of the inning and send you back to the MLB Network studios for a Geico studio update. Yet a crowd. It's a 4-1 Puerto Rico lead here in the bottom of the fourth inning. Eddie Rosario, T.J. Rivera, and Raymond Fuentes. Bottom third of the order against Marcus Stroman, who's at 54 pitches, so still with some gas in the tank. Still a chance that the U.S. can get 5 out of their starter tonight.
Well, no matter what happens now, result-wise, the fact that he's even pitching in the fourth inning gives the U.S. team a much better chance to not exhaust all their options before tomorrow's game.
Rosario retired. Well, Danny Duffy's up next for Team USA. He had a great start in his opener, and between innings he had a chance to catch up with our JP Morosi.
Danny, how have you seen Marcus settle in there after the first inning?
Yeah, he's making some good pitches. You know, a couple of those were just flares, seeing high ground balls. So he settled right back in, but you know, he knows what he's doing out there. He pitches in big games all the time, and this is what he thrives in. So he's going to rattle off a couple more good ones here.
Big assignment for you tomorrow night in your home state against the Dominicans. How excited are you?
I'm looking forward to it. You know, that's a great lineup over there. I've pitched against a lot of those guys often in my career, and looking forward to getting out there and you know, taking them out.
Danny, thanks so much.
Thanks, man.
It's going to be a big game tomorrow night. Danny Duffy against the Dominican Republic. And again, a lot of the scenarios that we've laid out in terms of who advances to LA are complicated enough to know that the U.S. is going to need to win that game.
Yes, they are. And according to the formula of their success, they're not out of this game. They've rallied late in a couple games and taken advantage of Adam Jones or Hosmer's power, and they're going to need that again tonight. Down only 4-1. Wake up the bats. Starting around the 6th inning usually.
Raymond Fuentes was the strikeout victim earlier tonight. One of 2 strikeouts for Marcus Stroman. So among the adjustments that Marcus has made, he was unable to finish anybody in the first. 4 of the 6 hits came on 2 strike counts. And he's going to take care of Puerto Rico 1, 2, 3 here in the 4th on a total of 6 pitches. Still a 4-1 ball game.
That's soon.
Yeah.
April 3rd.
Yeah,
You're going to be just locked and loaded.
I'm going to see if they can push it back a little.
Just a little, right? Give it a couple days. It's been a
days.
Hardest worker at MLB Network.
Buster Posey leads things off in the 5th inning for Team USA. Posey, Murphy, and Crawford. The Americans down by 3 in the middle innings tonight. Seth Lugo gave up the run in the 2nd. And after the base on balls to Posey, is not allowed a base runner.
Oh, streak's over. Golly.
What are you talking about? He's retired 8 in a row.
No, my scorecard.
Oh.
4 straight games.
You can come back.
No, you do it in pencil. I do it in pen. I'm done once I mess up.
Molina wants it on the corner. Posey was looking out there and fouls it away. Seth Lugo is one of those guys in Major League Baseball that is easy to root for. All the name hype on that Mets staff, and for good reason. Syndergaard, Harvey, DeGrom. That's as good a front 3 as anybody has. But without guys like Seth Lugo and Robert Gesellman last year. Buster Posey with a drive out to left center field, and that one's gone! We interrupt this flowery discussion on how good Seth Lugo is to bring you a Buster Posey solo shot.
Lugo had been so good with his sinker down. Buster Posey got one up and teed off on it. Tried to get it down, but look at that. Middle of the plate. Yachty knows it. Buster knows it. Seth knows
it. Strike 1 to Daniel Murphy.
See the 4-seam grip, trying to power the ball in. Right into the power of Buster Posey.
Buster Posey about as mild-mannered and humble and regular guy-ish a superstar you're ever going to want to find.
Yeah, you can put him and Goldschmidt in the same category.
And he's used to being cheered in this ballpark, by the way. The Giants travel very well, and Giants-Padres games in this yard are usually pretty loud with San Francisco fans. Murphy sprays the ground ball to third, and that's the first out of the inning.
Statcast powered by Amazon Web Services. We're going to go back to this home run that Buster Posey hit. Perfect swing, perfect balance. And the distance, 411 feet and 101.4 miles per hour off the bat.
Here's Brandon Crawford now. And Posey's Giants teammate lays off the first pitch, a ball and no strikes. Crawford grounded to second base to end the 2nd inning tonight. Just a 2-run game here in the top of the 5th. And Crawford pops it up. You know, I want to get back to Seth Lugo for a minute. We were talking about his contributions to last year's Mets team. I don't know that folks were counting on him being as steady as he was, because again, DeGrom and Harvey and Syndergaard, they get all the hype, and Bartolo Colon last year. Lugo was very good for them. 27-year-old who was a 34th round draft choice, John, out of Centenary College in Shreveport, Louisiana, back in 2011. The Centenary Gentlemen.
Gentlemen?
That's the name of their athletic teams, are called the Gentlemen. They play in a division with the Aristocrats, the Silver Spoons, and the Fancy Pants. Yeah, I made that up.
I was fine.
He's going to retire the side. Nothing further after the home run, but Buster Posey's second of the tournament has made this just a 2-run game in San Diego. Company. Visit SeaPuertoRico.com to plan your trip today. And by Wendy's. Top of the order for Puerto Rico here in the 5th. The requisite marine layer and fog settling in over Petco Park in the middle innings tonight. Angel Pagan, Francisco Lindor, and Carlos Correa here for Team Puerto Rico. This is the group that led off the ball game with 3 straight hits. 3 more would follow. 4 runs and 6 hits. And at that point, we weren't quite sure how long Marcus Stroman would be around, but he has really turned the corner tonight.
Listen, when you start a game and give up 6 straight hits, you usually don't last this long. And for the U.S. team, this is going to turn into a really, really good outing and an important one, even if they don't win this game.
Opposite field fly ball for Christian Yelich. You know who was really busy in that 4-run first? Puerto Rico's third base coach and New York Yankee third base coach Joe Espada, who's wearing a microphone for us.
No. Hey, Javi. If the ball gets past the catcher, there's not much room back there, okay?
Joe had to make sure that the wing was hot when he went out there. Man, if he didn't stretch before the game, he was going to be in trouble.
Yeah, I used to always say to our third base coach, whoever it was at the time, I hope you blow your rotator cuff out tonight. That means you're waving a lot of people in.
Ball and no strikes, the count to Francisco Lindor. Can you whistle like that, by the way?
No, I cannot. I don't even understand how that works.
I don't either.
But you got to have 2 pinkies, I guess.
I've always had whistler's envy. I wish I could do that.
I can't whistle like that, and I can't blink. I can only do it one way. I can't. I don't have the coordination.
Seriously?
Yeah. I found out the hard way.
How'd you find that out?
Well, shooting a promo for the Hall of Fame, it was a whole thing on all the new Hall of Famers winked, and when I went to the green room, I couldn't do it.
They thought you had a facial tick or something.
I just told them it's not in the gift pool there.
2 balls and a strike to count to Francisco Lindor. Again to the opposite field. This one a little farther into the corner. Yelich tucks himself in there and makes the catch. You could start thinking about 6 innings from Marcus Stroman tonight. I mean, he got through the 4th on 6 pitches. He's worked efficiently through his first 2 batters in the 5th.
Yeah, and sometimes, you know, you come out and when the pitches are a little flat, maybe he's standing up a little bit, didn't have the proper finish on his pitches. And since then, he's had the quick 2-seamer. He's had better bite on his slider. I'm just telling you, his first performance was dominant. And it's hard to top that when you've given up 6 hits. But I just can appreciate what he has done after giving up 6 straight hits. And he hasn't given up 1 since.
0-1 the count to Carlos Correa. Carlos is not only young and talented, but he is something of a fashion guy. He's one of the guys in the midst of this this peroxide trend. Team Puerto Rico all going with the blonde dye jobs.
Ow. Ow, ow, ow. Man. This one is going to hurt.
Chilly night or not, that was going to hurt.
I tell you what, you want to make it to the big leagues quick? Catcher's the position. You want to get beat up? Catcher's the position.
Yeah, the home plate umpire, Will Little, giving him a little extra time by brushing off the plate, and Buster's ready to go back to work with a 1-2 count on Carlos Correa. Talked about Correa being involved in this blonde hair trend. There was another trend he was in the middle of in his rookie year, JP.
Yes, he was, Matt. Back in 2015, he began a trend of wearing fedoras, which he actually picked up during spring training at downtown Disney there in the Orlando area. So tonight, sort of a fedora kind of night.
Yeah, it is. Rolls over that one. Arenado makes a nifty play, and the throw pulled Hosmer off the bag. Now, the way Josh Harrison reacted, and he had as good a view, I'll be curious to watch this again. Oh, yeah. But did he get back there? No, he did not. That's a base hit. And Correa's aboard for the third time tonight. And again, when you're talking about pitch counts, and 80 is the number for Stroman now. Extra at-bats, inning prolongers are a killer. So Stroman at 73 pitches, meaning this is almost a certainty it'll be his final hitter. See Nolan Arenado in that overload is out there in the Beer League rover position in short right.
Oh man, it's been a tough inning for everyone except for the batter.
That got the umpire that time?
Yes, it did. This one at least, I think, hit the ground first versus.
Oh, that got him right in the gut. Why don't they go back to the old bubble protectors? Two and one.
You know, I know that's what they teach, right? There's going to pick a side. Each umpire picks a side, but exposes himself depending on where the catcher is. When you mentioned the big chest protector, they would sit over the catcher because they had that big cumbersome chest protector there to protect them. Technology has gotten to where it's lighter, it's more convenient, but exposes them to you know, foul tips and body shots.
Jake McGee was up in the first inning. He's back up again, the left-hander, and Baltimore right-hander Michael Gibbons has joined him. Saw Tanner Roark out there, kind of assuming a bullpen coach's stance. Yadi Molina next. That's noteworthy because the U.S. is a man down on the coaching staff. Rich Donnelly, the bullpen coach with Jim Leland, is dealing with a case of the flu, and he's back at the hotel tonight. He didn't even come to the ballpark. We hope Rich is feeling better soon. A bouncer that gets through for Arenado at least to get there. Nobody's going to have a play, and it's going to be a broken bat infield single for Carlos Beltran.
Yeah, two things there. Arenado was looking and worried about the third base vacancy. I don't know that he looked to see if Stroman was covering first. He had kind of an outside shot at first, but watch when he gets the ball. This bat almost beats the ball out. It goes right out towards the first base position. Watch this right here. There it goes. And then Arenado never looks to Stroman, more concerned with the fact that third base, there's nobody there. And Correa could have easily walked to third. He could have just kept going. You could have seen the third base coach yelling at him.
That's it for Marcus Stroman. He's gone after 77 pitches, and considering how this one started, Marcus has to be pleased with where he's left his team in the middle of the fifth. Pitching change, and we'll be right back. Copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the World Baseball Classic, Inc. and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without express written consent. Marcus Stroman done for the night. And if you just take away the troubling start, he threw the ball really well this evening. Even with the troubling start, he left the U.S. in pretty good shape, down by just 2. We'll see if Michael Givens can hold that deficit right there.
Yeah, a couple squared up, but for the most part, they found a way to get hits. And when you're in rhythm and feeding off the emotion of one another, that's what those 6 hits in the first did. Found the hole a couple times here. Well, I'll take you back and look at the play and just show you why. Being in a shift can help, but it can also get you out of position. Arenado way back there charging. Watch, he never looks over to the guy covering first because he's more concerned with the runner going to third. That focus took him away from any chance what I thought he had in the play at first base.
Molina fades a pop-up that'll get out of play. It's a ball and 2 strikes. The shift giveth, the shift taketh away.
Yeah. I mean, you do, you know, it's definitely going to have some benefits, but the third baseman in some teams plays shortstop closer to third, and then you have your infielders up the middle that are more towards the right side. They would have probably been more prepared to look to first, but, you know, teach their own.
Big fastball fouled away, 97 miles an hour from Michael Givens.
But the lesson for Correa is next time he's in that situation, you just got to keep going. There's no way they could do anything at third base. And both base coaches were screaming for him to run to third.
And Molina sends that one in the air. Into the corner. Hosmer can't make a really tricky play.
Nice catch. Thank you very much.
Eric Hosmer has an amazing wingspan, but not even he was able to reach a row and a half deep to grab that over the wall.
Yeah, I get a little concerned right here when he go into a slide. He went into it late. Watch him. Can't see right there is he hits the lower base there.
And now Jim Leyland coming out to visit with Hunter Wendelstedt, the first base umpire. Can't imagine them talking about this play. Are they trying? Is Jimmy thinking fan interference? Maybe is that?
Yeah, that's what he's trying to find out. I don't know that he reached over enough when it's in the stands. It's the right for the fans to try to catch that ball. And yeah, it's close, isn't it?
You know, if Hosmer was standing up and leaned in there, then I'd say, yeah, the guy interfered. But I think Hosmer kind of aborted the effort when he went down into the slide, right?
Yeah, he had to based on his speed coming into it.
Is that MLB Network's Carlos Pena down there? Did he buy a ticket for this game again? Molina into right center. Jones was played perfectly. And the U.S. gets out of it. A clean inning thanks to Michael Gibbons. And still a 2-run game in San Diego. Follow every pitch of this year's World Baseball Classic live with the MLB.com at-bat mobile app, your #1 app for live baseball. And join Major League Baseball in new era as we celebrate opening day. Make sure to wear your cap on April 3rd. Share a photo on social media using the hashtag #CapsOn. Tune into all the opening day action April 3rd on ESPN, MLB Network, and MLB.com. 2-run game at Petco Park. If Puerto Rico wins tonight, they punch their ticket to the semifinals in Los Angeles. If the U.S. wins tonight, they still need a little help, and they can do it themselves by beating the Dominican Republic tomorrow. But we will not know fully who exactly is going and who's going home until the conclusion of play tomorrow. Maybe still a chance of a tiebreaker. The only team that can truly control their own destiny tonight is Puerto Rico. Andrew McCutchen leads things off in the U.S. half of the 6th. Top of the order, McCutchen, Jones, and Yelich. And Kutch is caught on a called strike 3. He didn't like it. And he's gone. Boy, that's a quick hook. That's a super quick run.
Well, we've seen this before already, and 2 ejections in 2 games by Mr. Little.
That's rough. I mean, the ejection is rough. Now, say what you will about the call. I think Kutch had a pretty good case to chirp, but to eject a guy in a tournament format like this. All right, let's look at it again.
I mean, it's definitely not a strike. We've seen that side. He sets up on the inside part of the plate, and I don't care what anyone tells me. There's always going to be a lenient side for an umpire when he has not the same view on the other side. So he's locked in on one side. And we've seen that pitch in the other batter's box be called a strike. We've heard the same complaints. Tony Pena got thrown out. It hurt enough. And McCutchen wasn't as demonstrative, but must have said something a second time to get thrown out. And it's unfortunate.
Here's Adam Jones now. So the U.S. is going to have to utilize its bench. It's deep and talented. That's not the issue, but I just feel like an umpire running a guy for that. This is not the regular season. And not to mention, Will Little's having a rough time. I mean, these are missed calls. He had the plate 2 nights ago. It was controversial. He was super wide, and he's back behind the plate tonight. 2 balls and no strikes to count to Adam Jones. Well, let's take you back to what happened against the Dominican Republic when they played Puerto Rico. And these are balls that are way off the plate. This was the call that got Tony Pena run. He had seen enough. Adam Jones with a shot to left. He got it! 1-run game. He's having a heck of a tournament. 3 home runs for the San Diego native Adam Jones in World Baseball Classic play.
He sure is, and he has enjoyed coming back home in this stadium. Loves playing here. You You know that package we show, you know what the common theme as we look at this home run one more time, the common theme was Yadier Molina was behind the plate in every one of those.
That's right.
Perfect swing, perfect timing, guessed right. He was just explaining right there, when you keep your front shoulder in, you can do stuff like that.
The swing and the miss by Christian Yelich, and there are 2 away now for Lugo. You know, I want to clean something up from earlier. We had mentioned how Seth Lugo's outing against Venezuela, 5 1/3 on Friday, was the longest ever by a Puerto Rican starter in the World Baseball Classic. That is inaccurate, and we apologize for that. We took that out of the notes that we were given today. And we quickly heard about it from the guy who actually had the longest start in the history of Puerto Rico baseball in the World Baseball Classic.
Really? It wasn't a representative, it was the guy?
The guy, Nelson Figueroa.
Very nice.
So, tip of the cap to Nelson. It is he that has given Puerto Rico their longest ever start in World Baseball Classic play. 6 innings back in 2013. Seth Lugo is an out away from matching him. But that one-time 4-0 lead is disappearing quickly. Solo home runs by Buster Posey and now Adam Jones. And here's Nolan Arenado now.
I know there's 2 teams that haven't played today that actually are rooting for the U.S. That's the only way that Venezuela has a chance, because the U.S. has to win, and it increases the Dominican chances, in my opinion, if the U.S. wins. Gives them more options.
It's been discussed on the network all day, the fact that Miguel Cabrera will not play tomorrow, with Venezuela losing 3 of their stars. I mean, they're down to a chip and a chair tomorrow, and hoping that they can beat Puerto Rico, and then they get some help in the U.S. Dominican game, and that the tiebreaker math would fall in their favor. They're still alive in this thing despite being 0-2. Arenado with a bouncer to third. Correa knocks it down. Lindor recovers. Throw to first. Not in time. That would have been one for the all-time highlight reel.
Well, I'm putting down base hit no matter what the official score puts down. But yes, you're right. That arm for Lindor catches him bare hand and just throws a seed.
It is an infield base hit for Nolan Arenado, his 2nd of the game, and that's going to be all for Seth Lugo tonight. First pitching change of the evening for Team Puerto Rico. We'll be right back. Coming on solo homers, he'll leave with a runner aboard as his responsibility.
By the way, I couldn't speak to this because I couldn't even. How long does that bleach last? Do you know?
I do not. That's a good question, though.
Just wondered if that we're going to see that, come regular season.
Left-hander Alex Claudio takes over here, looking for the final out of the inning.
And he really gets down there with a sidearm. He throws about as slow a changeup as you can throw. 67 miles an hour. Almost looks like it floats. Curveball, slider, and a sinker.
He was really tough on left-hand hitters last year. Hosmer with a bouncer. Baez gets it and gets his man. Man, can Javi Baez play? One of the most athletic middle infielders in our sport. Run. Baez, Rosario, and Rivera against Michael Gibbons, who finished off the 5th. And Giancarlo Stanton is the new U.S. right fielder, taking over for Andrew McCutchen after being ejected last inning. So big Giancarlo getting his first action in San Diego. pitch on the corner. Baez has singled and grounded to shortstop tonight. He's had a great tournament. Just a bit inside. 2-1. If you're just tuning us in, Puerto Rico got on the board for 4 runs on 6 hits before they recorded an out in the bottom of the first. It didn't look like Marcus Stroman would be very long for this night, but Stroman really turned the corner after the first. The U.S. has chipped away. An RBI single by Eric Hosmer in the first, and then homers by Posey and Jones in the 5th and 6th.
And as we've seen, the U.S. team has done before, they've come back and won some games late. And their only blemish was the 5-0 lead late against the DR that they let slip away.
Baez just had no chance to get out of the way there.
This one rides up. And he's trying to get his hands out of the way. Actually, that was only a deflection. That could have been a lot worse.
Yeah. Now the knob of the bat might feel differently.
You mean if it could feel?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, you're telling me it can't? Third time tonight that Puerto Rico's put its leadoff hitter aboard. Baez on base the tough way. And now Eddie Rosario squares around to bunt, takes the ball outside. Joe Espada in the third base coaching box. You saw Jose Valentin in the first base box. Almost dropped Javier, Jose's brother. Oh.
Nice play by Hosmer.
Yeah, what was going on there? I mean, Haas wasn't looking for a throw to the bag.
Shortened up just off the bag, trying to create an illusion. And 8-foot wingspan got that one.
2 balls and no strikes to Eddie Rosario.
At home might be saying, why doesn't the pitcher throw it down the middle when the guy's bunting? Well, before he delivers it, you're not for sure he's going to be bunting unless he really squares around early. There is some element of surprise.
Runner goes, throw down to second base, and in safely in front of the throw is Javi Baez. Here comes Jim Leland.
See too many pitching changes on a 3-0 count. We do tonight.
That's going to be all for Michael Gibbons. So a runner at second, a 3-0 count, and a new pitcher. We'll be right back. Well, the rarest of changes, as John mentioned when we went to break. A short outing for Michael Gibbons, and he's not even able to finish a 3-0 count as Jim Leland goes to the big super reliever, left-hander Andrew Miller, here in the 6th.
Well, he'll inherit 3-0 count. I would think if he pours a strike in, the bunt might be back in now that a left-hander is on the mound for Rosario.
So 3-0 the count left behind. And Miller's first pitch to Rosario misses for ball 4. So first and second is more or less what Andrew inherits. Big opportunity for Puerto Rico, and on top by a run, this could be a lot worse for the U.S. But in the first inning, Yadi Molina got caught off the bag at third, overslid, and Nolan Arenado kept the glove on him. That took away an additional opportunity to score. Happened again in the third when Carlos Correa cut the bag too hard at third base and then slipped, was eventually caught in a rundown and tagged out. And Edwin Rodriguez hoping that those miscues don't go back to haunt him. One thing Puerto Rico's done exceedingly well tonight is cash in with runners in scoring position. They're 4 for 8. And this opportunity now lies with T.J. Rivera, who bunts foul.
Let's see if T.J. Rivera keeps this bunt play on. Eventually may have to try to bunt a slider that's coming in at him, which in essence would help him bunt the ball down the third base line, believe it or not.
All-star left-hander fires another, and that one bunted at and missed, and it's 0-1 all of a sudden to Rivera.
But that's the downside of trying to bunt a slider, especially the slider of Andrew Miller. If it's down, you just got to leave it alone. You can't jab at it like he did right there. But the spin of a slider works to the advantage of the guy who's bunting to actually bunt it fair.
Got him looking. Well, Edwin Rodriguez doesn't want to watch another left-hander try to deal with Andrew Miller, so he's going to go to his bench here. Kike Hernandez will have an opportunity with runners at first and second and one away.
Am I the only one that thinks could be a relative of Eric Burns?
Oh, no. Even Eric Burns thinks it could be a relative of Eric Burns. Versatile right-handed hitting Los Angeles Dodger. 2 runners aboard for him and 1 away. Another breaking ball. That one misses inside. A ball to no strikes.
Baez is getting such an aggressive lead at second base, trying to force the action, trying to figure out if it's worth the risk stealing third, putting pressure on Josh Harrison to keep him as close as possible.
There he goes. Posey throw down is too late. Baez rolled the dice at exactly the right time. Man, is he an exciting player. I can't tell if he hurt himself on the slider or if he's just wound up.
Probably a little bit of both, but you could tell that aggressiveness took off right there. First, maybe his right hand. See how his right hand, when he was sliding, kind of drug behind him.
Second and third now as Rosario advanced on the back end of that. The U.S. takes the infield in. And it's 2 balls and a strike to the pinch hitter, Kike Hernandez.
Was the right hand that he's probably got a nice little skin up on.
2-2. The switch hitter, the leadoff man, Angel Pagan, waits next.
Well, that fastball right there primarily should set up this back foot slider. He fouls off the fastball. See if they go to that slider down and in. They tried. He just left too much of the plate. That's the difference right now. Just not as maybe locked in on that pitch, which is so unhittable, and we saw it throughout the playoffs. Hard to lay off.
First career meeting between these two. Big back-to-back punch-outs by Andrew Miller.
Looks like a ball the whole way, and it comes back. There's the slider grip, 3/4, nasty slinging pitch.
Pagano singled and scored tonight. Switch hitter in from the right side. A chopper to third. Arenado takes a wild hop. The throw to first is low. 2-run score. Just when it appeared Andrew Miller was out of it, Puerto Rico catches a break. Well, the bad hop certainly took Arenado by surprise. Then he clutched and had to rush the throw.
And then this nasty skip, no chance for Hosmer. Dew kind of on the grass, I'm sure, with this cool air and that ball. See how it skipped and did now. No chance.
And now Francisco Lindor, that's an error charged to Arenado. No RBIs on the play. Pagano ends up at second. Puerto Rico back on top by 3. Puerto Rico scored twice this inning without a base hit. A hit batsman, a walk, and then an error.
Teammates facing each other. Miller and Lindor. You'd just as soon see that pitch from shortstop.
Lindor sends the ball to right. Stanton started in, but recovers to retire the side. Not before the damage is done. 2 runs for Puerto Rico in the last of the 6. They're back out on top by 3. Changes as we start the top half of the 7th inning. For Puerto Rico, Kike Hernandez will stay in the ballgame and play center field. And the U.S. is showing a pinch hitter this inning as well. Buster Posey leads off. Paul Goldschmidt would bat next. And then Brandon Crawford. Goldschmidt would hit for Daniel Murphy. So the left-hander Alex Claudio continues. He recorded the final out in the 6th. High fly ball into center. It finds the new guy. And that's the first down of the inning.
That's that changeup I was talking about. It's so difficult as a hitter when you're trying to gear up for a sinker. This thing floats. Change up grip, float, 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 float. You can see, oh man, hard to stay back.
So an opportunity now for Paul Goldschmidt to swing the bat off the bench. Claudio is really tough on left-handed bats. So Jim Leland using this as an opportunity to get a right-handed power hitter in there. We used this note on him earlier in the tournament, but it's valid here again. The active OPS leader against left-handed pitching.
That would be on base plus slugging.
Oh yeah, yeah. I should have mentioned that. David Robertson's up in the U.S. bullpen. Swing and a miss by Goldschmidt. It's a ball and 2 strikes. Third all-time on the Arizona Diamondbacks all-time home run list behind Luis Gonzalez and Steve Finley, who is here today. Steve Finley with some really good years with the San Diego Padres in the late 90s. Still a really popular player here. Fly ball out to right. And that's the second out of the inning. Well, as tough as Alex Claudio is against left-handers, the left-handed hitting shortstop Brandon Crawford is going to face him anyway. Tomorrow against the Dominican Republic in a game that may determine whether or not the U.S. advances in this tournament. They have Danny Duffy, and Irvin Santana pitches for the DR. He has not worked yet in the World Baseball Classic. He was added to the roster from their designated pitchers pool for this round. If Puerto Rico holds on to win tonight, they will advance to the semifinals in LA. 0-2 to Crawford. Beyond the early tomorrow, day-night doubleheader starting at 3:30 Eastern, 12:30 local time here. Puerto Rico and Venezuela. Venezuela is still technically alive to advance, by the way. And then the U.S. and Dominican Republic. That's the nightcap at 7 p.m. local, 10 o'clock in the East.
Am I joining you for the second game?
I would hope so. I've not heard to the contrary.
Who's joining you in the first game?
Did you have something else in mind? I believe we're both stuck, and that's a good thing.
It is a good thing.
Two balls and 2 strikes. Josh Harrison waiting on deck. Full count, 3 balls and 2 strikes.
Pretty good job by Crawford going 0-2, 3-2.
Brandon hitless tonight, 5 for 11 in the first 4 games of the tournament, trying to come back from an 0-2 count. And he will do so. It's a fine plate appearance. Breaking ball gave him a little trouble to fall behind 0-2, and then he spun on a couple, and he's aboard with 2 gone. So now Josh Harrison 0 for his first 2 tonight, making his first start of the World Baseball Classic this evening. Oh, you'd love to get that big fella up here with 2 runners aboard. Giancarlo Stanton waits on deck.
He will not face Claudio, I would think.
Yeah, I would agree with that. A ball and no strikes to Harrison. Josh is a secret weapon of sorts with the Pittsburgh Pirates. That super utility man that can play all over the infield, outfield in a pinch. And there are many who believe he's a better player when he's moving his positions around. He liked the idea of being a full-time second baseman himself, and that role may be changing this year. JP?
Well, Josh Harrison, Matt, a 3-sport athlete in Cincinnati. When I asked him what position he played in football, he said everything. Just like in baseball.
Yeah, why should we be surprised by that? One and one. Josh hit 283 last year, right around his career number. You can see he's got experience all over the place. If you really press him, he loves second base. He also loves playing every day, and if that's what's required, he's happy to do it.
Pirates really took off a couple of years ago when he was coming off the bench and then was pressed into duty and really started the quest to see him play more and more and more.
Crawford off first. 2-1 to Harrison, wrapped to the left side. Correa to Baez to wrap up the inning. Well, the U.S. has 6 outs left to try to catch Puerto Rico tonight. A 6-3 ball game. Welcome back to this World Baseball Classic telecast on MLB Network, presented by Geico. Matt Vasgersian alongside John Smoltz and JP Morosi, and a 3-run game on the scoreboard. Puerto Rico has led ever since the word go. 4 in the last of the first. The U.S. got as close as 4-3 before the 2 unearned runs last inning. David Robertson will try to keep it a 3-run game here in the last of the 7th. He has the unenviable task of facing Carlos Correa, Carlos Beltran, and Yadier Molina. A strike to Correa.
Robinson, best known for the cutter and the knuckle curveball.
Carlos has singled twice, stolen a base, scored, and driven in a run tonight. Now he's behind 0-2.
Correa thinks it's down, and he probably is right. So Robertson, this is third time we've gotten a chance to see him, and I just don't remember his cutter being as flat as it is. His cutter usually takes the turn late, and it's spinning right now, but it's not taking the turn. And it's something you want to iron out here in the next few weeks.
A little pop for Hosmer, and there is one away. As we mentioned earlier, Puerto Rico's third base coach Joe Espada wearing a microphone for us tonight.
Hey! It's a great play right there. Boy. Okay, good. Ready to hit. Come on. Go, ball. Get over his head, ball. Whoa.
That's it. Talk to it, Joe. I love that. Channel your inner Mark Fidrich. Wish more guys talk to the baseball. A ball to no strikes on Carlos Beltran. Up. 1-1. Something of a Yankee and ex-Yankee theme here. A couple of ex-Yankees facing one another. A current Yankee third base coach that we just heard from in the box tonight. We were talking about the career accolades of Carlos Beltran earlier tonight. 9-time All-Star selection, number 4 on the all-time switch hitting home run list. JP, you're a Hall of Fame voter. He would present a very interesting choice.
He really does, Matty. I think he is right there in terms of being a Hall of Famer. And how about this list? The ultimate good news, bad news list. Those 2,617 hits rank him third behind Ichiro Suzuki and Adrian Beltre in most hits among active players who have not won the World Series.
Ah, yikes. Yeah, that's that old Carl Yastrzemski man. Oh, Beltran lift and separate and foul in right.
Man, this was close.
It says David Robertson. The heart goes pitter-pat. Still 2-2 to Carlos Beltran. Yadi Molina waiting next. See Jose Valentin on that first base coach. He was playing Carlton Fisk. He's bouncing up and down. He's waving it fair. And a called strike 3 taken by Beltran. Right, the game of inches. He misses a home run by about a foot to the corner, and then he's called out on a strike 3. Jose tried to sell that. Nobody bought it. Switch hitter with pop right there. He used to own, I mean own Oral Hershiser.
Really?
Yeah, that was his guy. Here's Yadier Molina now. Jose Valentin wasn't the only member of Team Puerto Rico trying to wave it fair. But the Americans bat in the top of the 8th inning. They'll have Stanton, Jones, and Yelich, the top of the order.
That's the first cutter that looks like David Robertson's cutter, even though he missed for a ball. That had late action.
Two balls and a strike to Yadier Molina. The U.S. and Puerto Rico 2-2 head-to-head in all-time WBC play. Three and 1 to Molina now.
Pretty good pitch here. The last three now are closer to what he's been trying to get that pitch to do. The action on that pitch. You know it's going to move. You could start it down the middle and know it's going to go to the outer part of the plate. Does he dare go to the 3-2 curveball like he did against Beltran?
I kind of like the idea of that. Crowd of over 32,000 fans at Petco Park tonight. Our biggest attendance night yet so far here. Another big one coming tomorrow night, we're told. That's a fair ball with a lot of English on it. And Robertson gets the side in order. U.S. needs some help. Down by 3. Puerto Rico is on the board early tonight, and a 6th consecutive hit. Even the Puerto Rico bullpen is going crazy. Drive out to left center field, and that one's gone. Shot to left, you got it. Arenado takes a wild high. 2-run score. A 3-run lead for Team Puerto Rico, and they have to fade 6 outs to head to Los Angeles for the semifinals. Giancarlo Stanton leads things off. New pitcher on the mound for Team Puerto Rico. Joe Colon takes over. A ball and a strike to count to Stanton.
Fastball slider combination. Fastball can get up there to 95 miles an hour. 2-seamer, 4-seamer, and the slider has more of a curveball break to it.
Slider swung on and missed. Colon is not allowed to run in World Baseball Classic play. He's made 2 appearances. Big Giancarlo just 1 for 9 so far. Two balls and 2 strikes. '27-year-old native of Caguas, Puerto Rico, gets a check swing, and a check swing that's confirmed on the appeal down to first base. So a full count now to Stanton.
Strong guy right there. I'm sure he could break his bat check swing.
The 3-2. Got him looking on a fastball in the corner.
Another bottom of the zone strike on a big guy at the plate. Yadier back there. That is a ball.
Adam Jones has done his part tonight. His 3rd home run of the tournament came with 1 out in the 6th inning and made it a 1-run game. That's as close as the U.S. has been. A ball and no strikes to Adam Jones. Bullpen busy behind Colon. As Edwin Diaz is up, he was really impressive here earlier in the tournament. Take you back to the 6th.
Slider spin. Goes a long way when it's over the middle of the plate.
Fastball's called for a strike. Man, that's just not hittable. That's a ground ball to shortstop.
Yeah, that's a Smoltz wanting to come back. That's what that was.
Breaking ball line to center field. Kike Hernandez has it. That's the 2nd out of the inning.
Sorry about the 3rd person analogy.
No, that's okay, Ricky Henderson. Everybody's had a little something to say about the strike zone tonight. You understand the frustration. 2 away, and the base is empty now for Christian Yelich.
I've talked about hitters in the box look like they're sitting in a rocking chair hitting. That's what Yadier Molina looks like when he's catching. Just so smooth and so in control and obviously so enticing to get some calls. I mean, there's a common denominator here, and it has been the fact that probably 90% of these calls that have been heavily complained upon have been while he's been catching them.
So circle your calendars the next time Will Little's got the plate in a Cardinals game. Counts 2 balls and no strikes to Christian Yelich. Nolan Arenado on deck. Hit the bull, win a stake. Rub up a new one. Yelich, who is taking all the way. Malone comes back after trailing in the count 3-0. Gets Yelich and gets the Americans in order in the 8th. Puerto Rico is 3 outs away from moving on to Los Angeles. This World Baseball Classic telecast on MLB Network is presented by Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. And sponsored in part by Sam Adams, Pursue Better. And by Ace, the helpful place. U.S. goes into the bullpen once more. Right-hander Nate Jones will take over here in the 8th. He gets Javi Baez on the first pitch to pop it up. There is 1 away in the last of the 8th inning. Jones pitched on Sunday and retired the 4 final batters in the Canadian lineup to help the U.S. advance to the 2nd round here in San Diego. So now Jones will go to work on Ed Rosario with the bases empty and 1 gone. So the U.S. hits in the 9th. Staring down its last licks. They'll have Arenado, Hosmer, and Posey. And I'm guessing Edwin Diaz is going to be the man they face.
And if that holds up and Edwin Diaz does the job, one of the powers to be is going to be eliminated. The 2 favorites, or the 2 teams that most people had talked about, the U.S. and the Dominican Republic.
Yeah, the scenario for qualifying will be real easy. If Puerto Rico hangs on to win this game tonight, simply the winner tomorrow between the U.S. and the Dominican Republic will join them. That's it. Venezuela is eliminated with a Puerto Rico win tonight. Rosario rolls over, and there are 2 out in the end. Now, this game started out with a bunch of runs for Puerto Rico in the last of the first. 6 straight singles. They had a 4-0 lead. The U.S. chipped away. They got as close as 4-3 on Buster Posey and Adam Jones home runs. Then 2 unearned runs for Puerto Rico in their half of the 6th rather, have made it the 6-3 game we're watching. Here's T.J. Rivera now with 2 away and the base is empty. Good slider, swung on and missed. Rivera's 0 for 3 tonight. The bottom of the Puerto Rico order is without a hit this evening. Again, the pitching matchup tomorrow night for the U.S. and the Dominican Republic. Danny Duffy for the Americans and veteran right-hander Urban Santana for the DR. And again, should Puerto Rico hang on and win tonight, The U.S. and the Dominican Republic will be playing for the right to move on. Winner goes to LA to the semifinals, and the loser breaks up its team, with everybody being redistributed in the Grapefruit and Cactus League.
I noticed before, but Rivera got a little A-Rod set up.
He looks a little bit like him too.
He's got that setup right there, the little bat waggle.
Well, the World Baseball Classic, as we know, happens only once every 4 years. Don't miss your chance to see the best players in the world represent their country. Tickets for the semifinals available at worldbaseballclassic.com. Games Monday, Tuesday, and the championship game Wednesday night in LA.
You're at home watching Jones pitch. Just know that he's unique. Not really the arm action you want to promote or duplicate. He does have a live arm.
Two balls and 2 strikes. Rivera sends the ball to second. Harrison gathers it in and gets him, and the Americans are down to their last set of swings tonight. Nolan Arenado leads off the U.S. half of the ninth. We go double-header action tomorrow on MLB Network. Paul Severino and Jim Cottle have the call from We'll be with you at noon Eastern tomorrow, or rather 3:30 Eastern tomorrow, and 12:30 Pacific time for Puerto Rico and Venezuela, and then the big one, the U.S. and the Dominican Republic, is the nightcap. And if this score holds, that late game will determine who else advances to the semifinals. It is Edwin Diaz looking to close it down for Puerto Rico, and man, was he impressive earlier in this tournament. He has not allowed a hit or a run in his 2 1/3 here in World Baseball Classic play.
Throws it hard. He's got a tight slider to go with it.
Nolan Arenado's had a nice day at the plate, 2 for 3. I got a comp for you for Edwin Diaz. Just body type alone.
Oh, I thought you were going facial. I was going to go Scottie Pippen.
That's pretty good. All right. There's ball 4. And there's the leadoff hitter aboard. No, I got not Scottie Pippen. Although that's good neck up. I got Julian Tavares body.
Yeah. I like where you're going with that.
Probably not Julian Tavares temperament, and that's all right. Had a great major league career and like to mix it up. Pitched with a lot of energy and emotion. Well, the U.S. is going to need more than just one man on base. Nolan Arenado draws the leadoff walk. Here's Eric Hosmer now. He has singled in a run tonight and takes a strike.
This is where Hosmer does pretty good work. Once he gets to 2 strikes, the really big aggressive swings aren't as big, and he finds a way to battle and put the ball in play.
He gets on base. Buster Posey, who's homered tonight, is the tying run. Hosmer's about as good a chance you have in a big game situation. 29 career postseason runs batted in. That's the most in franchise history. Just George Brett on that Royals list, and Hosmer coming through in a big spot again. First and second, nobody out.
Just an interesting call here for Yachty, going out to the mound, talking to his young closer. So tempted if I was Buster Posey to be sitting on a dead red fastball right here, but I don't know if that's what he'll get.
Puerto Rico's pitching coach, ex-big leaguer Ricky Bonas, going out to talk. Ricky spent some time here in San Diego as a Padre. Good years in Milwaukee. Marlins, and the bullpen hot with Joe Jimenez and J.C. Romero. The U.S. has never led tonight. 4 in the first by Puerto Rico, and the Americans have had to play catch-up all night long. Buster Posey was a part of the comeback that made it a one-run game for a minute. He represents the tying run here with nobody out.
Well, that was indeed the slider. Look how deep they're playing in the outfield. So anything that's not hit on a rope, you're going to get them falling in before you, but probably tough to get by.
Oh. Buster took the 0-1 pitch to fall behind 0-2 now. Posey's hit 8 home runs in this yard. As a San Francisco Giant, that is. Ball and 2 strikes. Puerto Rico fans thought that was strike 3. Paul Goldschmidt waiting next. Two great chances for the Americans to tie it with one swing. First pitch was a breaking ball, and then 3 fastballs to Buster Posey. What's he have on 2-2? Another fastball. Buster was ready for it, fouled it straight back. Man, he was on that ball. The sounds of Rocky IV. Yeah. Missed by a tick. The next 2-2. Full count.
Well, he started him with a slider. He's thrown all heaters since. I know Yachty or Molina, this has got to be a slider.
Do you dare start the runners here?
No.
The 3-2. The slider got it. And it was a good one.
He saved his best for last right here. This is just spinning and disappearing. And Buster Posey selling out for what he thinks is a fastball. What a pitch.
So now Paul Goldschmidt, a non-starter tonight. He pinch hit for Daniel Murphy in the 7th and takes a strike. Four-time All-Star. The tying run here in the top of the 9th. Yanked it. Arenado and Hosmer advance into scoring position. And not even the 8-time Gold Glover Yadi Molina could do anything with that pitch.
Just overthrew it. But he understands 2 runs could score as long as he gets 3 outs before the 3rd one.
Missed inside, 2 balls and a strike to Goldschmidt.
Goldschmidt's just got to look for an area right around belt high, something over the middle of the plate.
Two and 2. You just get the sense that this guy likes to challenge you with his fastball. And why not? 2 balls and 2 strikes. The count to Paul Goldschmidt, the tying run. Got it. Puerto Rico is 1 out away from advancing to the semifinals.
Low. High.
It's going to be up to Brandon Crawford now. And Yadi Molina wants to make sure everybody's on the same page for Crawford here. Isn't it amazing that you can have a conference on the mound, no pitching coach, no manager. Yadi Molina is essentially a player manager in situations like this.
He is, and he's seen what Crawford could do to a fastball. Certainly Crawford wants to extend this, pass it on to Harrison. But it's just a reassurance that Molina gives his pitchers and giving them confidence, whether they have it or not, that this is the plan, this is how we're going to execute, and this is how we're going to be successful.
Arenado at 3rd, Hosmer at 2nd. No shortstop has driven in more runs the last 2 years than Brandon Crawford. And he's got pop as well. A career high 21 home runs 2 years ago, his all-star season. He's at front 2-0. Josh Harrison waits on deck for the U.S. To left center field, and it's over for gone. This is a 1-run ball game. Brandon's on his way to 3rd.
That's what I was talking about, the short stroke with Brandon Crawford. I think Puerto Rico's got a beef here. He was out at 3rd, and the U.S. still has hope.
Can't tell about the tag there, but it certainly looked like the ball beat Brandon to the bag. This will give us perhaps a better look.
Yeah, the angle was just, the umpire did not have the right angle on that. And now with throwing one to the backstop brings in that to play.
1-1 the count to Josh Harrison. This will give us a really clear look, and he was out. A National League high 11 triples last year for Brandon Crawford. A 2-run triple here in the 9th with 2 away has made it a 1-run game, and he stands 90 feet away as the tying run. Harrison takes a strike, and the Americans are down to their final strike tonight. Edwin Diaz has never allowed 3 or more runs in an inning. It's 2-2 to Harrison. So the Americans' final chance comes down to their one player that has seen the fewest at-bats in the tournament. Puerto Rico survives the late U.S. rally to beat the Americans by a run. They're still undefeated in tournament play, and they're moving on to Los Angeles.